Dr. Johnson, I know we got one commissioner, Mr. Shaw, representative. I'm not sure if there are any other elected. I don't see anymore. Sure, he's quite often does. Hey, you're Joe can do He's a representative. That's what I was. Right.
I did. Tagged a stranger. It wasn't you. I was taking a lot of Did that early this morning. 6 o'clock. I'm just joking with you. Did I really? It said Tiffany Robinson. Yeah, Tiffany Campbell Robinson. I got Tiffany Campbell Robinson. Somebody else. Hey, but the good news is that there's a different Tiffany Campbell Robinson out the world. Which is super weird. Very weird. There's a Tiffany Robinson in Cincinnati, Ohio. She gets my credit card statements. So weird. Took her like a year to track me out.
I said, you and I have the best days. You and I have the time. If I was smart, I would get my tea off. We used to call that the old window. Hey Coach, this tie I wore to teach school for an event. See what it is? For the bicentennial, 1976. That's a 1976. How old were you in 76?
Wasn't that hard?
Just 3. You were 3.
My mother was 12. No, was she? She wasn't. She
I was a junior in high school. She is you young.
Yeah, she's 16. Yeah.
I said she is you young. She had to.
Yeah. Yes, I wasn't.
Is she still in Florida? Yeah, what does she do?
She's still singing about
But she's a fish and works with it.
Yeah, she's really
This is the only church. Well, when I was teaching history in 1966, I was 13. I'm 17. I wrestled 8 matches my freshman year.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get started here in just a couple minutes. We're waiting on one more board member who's caught in traffic. See if he's coming back up here. He's coming back. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Ms. Ford, will you call roll?
Chairman Wingate.
Here.
Vice Chairman Robinson.
Here.
Dr. Highlander.
Here.
Mrs. Hill.
Here.
Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Lennon.
Here.
Mr. McClendon.
Here.
Mr. Smith. Mrs. Thurman.
Here.
Mr. Harris. Superintendent Dr. Johnson.
Here. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda for this special called session?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Ford?
Dr. Highlander.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Lennon.
Yes.
Mr. McClendon.
Yes.
Mrs. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman.
Yes.
Chairman Wingate.
Yes. Turn it over to Dr. Bradshaw.
Board Chair, members of the board, Dr. Johnson, you have two documents before you. You have the Transportation Services Agreement and the Lease Agreement. Both documents will help govern our relationship with both parties starting July 2019 through June 2022. The school board attorney, in collaboration with administration and first student, have reviewed the terms of these documents, and we request your approval.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
For clarification, Mr. Chairman, is that motion to approve both documents?
No, we need to motion to approve the contract.
Motion to approve the contract.
Second.
All right, any discussion over item A there, the first student contract? Ms. Thurman?
Yes. I think when we were discussing the contract, I've never been a part of one that was done exactly like we did this time. I almost felt like we were playing that card game, that where you hold the card up to your forehead and everybody else can see your card, but you can't see it. And I felt like we were the only people that had the cards up and everybody could see our cards because they knew where our cards were going. And first student in Durham, neither one had to show their cards. And it was almost like we were protecting them more than we were protecting the board. Because we really never got to ask them any questions about what they were going to pay their employees, even though somebody did ask. But we were asked not to ask any questions, which really never made sense to me, because I thought if the bids were in, what difference did it make? And I felt like we put ourselves in a very bad position to be taken advantage of. I think if they had asked for $2 million more, that some on the board would probably have voted to give it to them, just because they knew that we wanted to get rid of a bus service that they saw was responsible for a very bad tragedy that happened here. And here again, it wasn't the bus company that was responsible, it was the driver, and it was an accident. But I felt like that maybe first student knew that going in, that we were willing to do whatever we had to do to bring in a new bus service. And so they just brought in a bid that was $1 million more. And I just feel like we left ourselves wide open to be taken advantage of. And that's really, in the business world, that is really not very smart. And so it was, and then they only realized there were only 2 bus companies that could have bid on a job this size. We knew that going in as well, and yet we paid somebody else a lot of money to help us get somebody else to bring more bids, and nobody else could handle the job except 3, I think, and 1 dropped out because they realized they probably couldn't handle it. But just want this board to realize this is really not a very smart way to do business. And some people on here, I know you take bids and do things in your business, and I just don't think you'd run your personal business quite like this. But that's one reason I'm going to be voting against it, because I feel like for $1 million, I don't see that we're getting $1 million worth of extra from them just to change the placard on the side of a building, because it's still going to be the same drivers. They're going to end up hiring all the drivers probably that Durham had. And like I said, I just don't think it's a very smart way to do business, and it has nothing to do with, anything else except that we should be running this school system like a business. And I just don't think this is a very smart way to do it, because like I said, we showed our cards first thing we laid our hands on the table. They knew. We never got to see theirs. We never even really got to question them or ask them. They were kind of cocky, came in knowing they were going to get it to no matter what they did. And so I just wanted everybody to know that's why I'm going to be voting against it, because I realize that it's still going to be the same people running the buses that are running them now. We're just going to pay $1 million extra to get somebody else to do it.
Dr. Highlander?
I think Gus Smith's next.
Okay. Mr. Smith?
Just a little bit of a clarification, Mr. Chairman. I don't quite understand why these are 2 separate issues with regard to the contract itself and then the facilities lease agreement. But I'm going to have a real hard time even talking about the contract till I talk about the lease agreement. So help me understand why those are separated, and then help me understand why we're going to talk about the contract first, because unless we do, I'm going to have a real hard time voting for this contract too. So I don't know if that's a question for you or a question for our attorney.
Dr. Brett? I was just going to say, Dr. Bradshaw, you want to talk about the differences? Okay.
So we have two separate agreements because they're two separate responsibilities. The transportation contract obviously governs the services that they'll be providing. The lease agreement governs their use of our property. Same two entities, board and the contractor, but because we're talking about two separate relationships effectively, and we're governing them two separate ways, my preference is to have them as separate documents. The lease agreement deals with things like disposal of environmental wastes, things like that should be dealt with separately. To your point about which document you look at first, that's pleasure of the board.
Well, Mr. Chairman, again, without talking about how we're going to handle the facilities lease, then if we jump right into the contract, I'm going to be voting no too, because I've got some real issues with how we're parking those buses. So I don't know how we handle that. Do we talk about the first one first and the second one second, or can we flip that in some way? Because again, I don't even want to talk about the contract. Do we talk about how we're parking those buses?
We can make a motion to redact the approval of the agenda and reorder that, or how would you want to do that?
Well, so if it's the pleasure of the board to take up the lease agreement first, then you would table the motion that's already on the floor and take up the lease agreement, and then once that's resolved, then you move back to the contract.
All right, let's table that motion.
Make a motion for that?
Yes, I motion to table the motion, and I won't motion anymore. I'll just let you guys do that.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
All right, Mrs. Ford.
Dr. Highlander.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill. Yes. Mrs. Jones.
Yes.
Mrs. Lennon.
Yes.
Mr. McClendon.
Yes.
Mrs. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman.
Yes.
Chairman Wingate.
Yes. All right, do we need to approve the agenda as it's been changed, or can we go ahead and discuss now?
No, sir, you just need a new motion on the lease agreement and discuss that.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the lease agreement?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, discussion.
Comments. One, I've got a question for Mr. Bennett first. Can we actually agree to a lease agreement before we have a contract with an entity? Legally, I don't think we can we?
Well, yes, actually we can, because the contract presupposes that there's an underlying agreement.
Okay.
That's a great question. So hypothetically, if you approve the lease, but you don't approve the contract, then the lease agreement's a nullity.
Be negated,
Yes,
nullified. Okay. Second question, what are, right now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I remember reading the contract, the bus service pays us $1 per year.
Yes, sir.
For the use of the bus barn, down in East Lake.
Well, all three facilities, yes, sir.
All three of the facilities
Yes, sir.
are $1 combined.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which is a pretty good deal for them.
Yeah, I don't know if they've ever paid that, but
Yeah. Okay. I wonder if they don't pay it, we kick them out, right? Okay. The other question is, do they? I had a couple of questions that weren't real clear. Do they pay the utilities, or do we? It's not. I could not find that in the contract, and perhaps you know that, Dr. Bradshaw. I think that I couldn't find it. I'm assuming that we're paying.
It says right here, the contractor will be responsible for any utilities arising out of leased facilities, including electricity, water, sewage. And page 3, item 7, contractor responsible for installation, upkeep, maintenance, and fees related to long distance.
Okay, I missed it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we separate our facilities down there as far as electricity and power and sewage? Because we have side-by-side buildings, and I've only seen 1 meter.
I am not sure. Let me ask Justin Witt for that, please.
You know that, Mr. Witt? Oh, he disappeared. Okay. Well, I get that's secondary, I guess. I was just curious about that. But let me ask you this: hypothetically, if First Student is able to procure another parking site, I'm concerned that they may have trouble doing that. I hope they can, but will they be responsible for paying for that, or are we?
I definitely didn't see that in the contract.
That's correct. So if you're asking about if there's a relocation, so if there's a relocation and they need more space, then I believe that's a shared expense, or we talk about it. But honestly, I'm going to have to actually look at that.
I don't know how to look at it. I read it, but I just started looking. And while you're looking, I'll say that while we're giving them, a pretty good deal, $1 for the 3 facilities, including Eastlake and Hickson, and where's the other, Brainerd?
Hickory Valley, which is here,
Hickory Valley,
obviously.
Yeah, Hickory Valley here. Okay.
Hickson and then Dodds.
Have we not been doing that for 30 years? The $1 thing?
Yes.
I just wanted to make that point
Yeah,
clear.
I'm not, Mr. McClendon, I'm not complaining about the $1. I'm thinking about what the cost is going to what we will be expected to pay if they change sites. I'm not complaining about the $1.
So how are we going to know that though? Because that wasn't negotiated in the first contract, right? So we have to go back and.
Exactly. Good point.
So we should have been talking about that.
So and understand the current situation is that they have access to the Hickson facility, but I was made aware that there are some concerns about the continued use of the Hickson facility. And so what we have put in here as sort of a placeholder as item 3.3 is that there will be a third facility to be agreed upon by the contractor in the district. Now, to Dr. Highlander's question, what if the current space is inadequate? So if you look at the bottom of page 1 under section 3, if at any point during the term of the underlying agreement the contractor finds existing space at any facility to be inadequate, the contractor shall request the district to provide it with additional space. Upon such a request, the district shall use its best efforts to accommodate the contractor's request, provided, however, that the contractor shall, at sole expense, provide fencing, paving, and installation of any necessary portable buildings. So what this envisions is, if they have additional need, they ask, we work to accommodate, and if we can, either because of surplus properties that we have available, or maybe an arrangement that we could enter into through either the county or the city of Chattanooga, then that's how we go about doing it. If it increases our costs, that's something that we have not yet agreed to. We would have to work that out, and that's an arm's length transaction in the same sense that in the contract, if the board decides to either increase the number of routes or reduce the number of routes, we talk about that too in an arm's length transaction. So I wanted to be sure I was looking to the right language, Dr. Highlander, to answer your question. It's silent because it assumes that we'll work through it. If there's an increased cost to accommodate their request, we're not automatically required to foot that bill.
That was my question. Thank you.
I just, one thing, I know this has come up. We started talking about this in November, and I keep going back to that. We brought the board together for the construction of the RFP, which is not a normalcy. We asked and sought input around the construction of the RFP. We did engage a third party because of the complexity of this project. The reality is there was a tragedy that transpired here, and we completely understand that. I think as we talk about running like a business, that's what we're trying to do. We ran the normal process for selection of RFP. It was scored by a committee. Committee brought forth a recommendation. We also took an abnormal step in regards to having both contractors come and present to the board. That's not a normalcy in an RFP process. And then made a recommendation based on the scoring and the feedback. So we presented it here before you. The first student is a recommendation. I know that Joe Smith, Member Smith mentioned to me, we talked in depth today about the concerns of Hickson and have been talking about those for several months. Duly noted, the school isn't an ideal site for a housing location, so to speak, for buses. But we're at the point to make sure we get our students transported and understand the sensitivity to the timeline.
Mr. Smith, I got hijacked there a little bit, so did you?
We've been parking them up there long before my time, probably 20 some odd years. And I understand that probably when that decision was made, it was maybe a good decision, and it was probably based on convenience and having those buses run out of Hickson High School that served maybe that end of the county. I would think that that's why that decision was made. Well, now there's a lot of buses that are being parked up there that are all over the county, so that can't be an argument anymore. The biggest thing to me and to all my friends up there in that community is a safety issue. High traffic volume. We have a child care and a preschool up there, and then buses circling that school. We have those modular buildings that are right in the path of where those buses are circling every morning. We got people that are going on that campus that hadn't been vetted, where they're maybe taking a driver and dropping them off. And obviously the drivers have been vetted, but maybe not the people that are taking them up there. So there's a heck of a lot of safety issues. Now it's interfering with academic performance, because certainly what we ought to be about is giving our kids the best education we can, but they want to grow their ag program up there, but they can't because the buses are in the way. So I can give you a laundry list of reasons why that's not the ideal location. And listen, I've said in some of these meetings, I know how complicated and complex the transportation issue is. And I know that Dr. Bradshaw, Dr. Johnson, everybody's worked hard on that. And I know it's the 11th hour. I understand all that. But, you know, over the last year and a half or so, there's been times when I've taken you guys to meet with different people and trying to find a place. That's not my job, to try to find a place. But I've tried to, and I hadn't done any good. And I'll keep looking. But the reality is, I'm tired of just being told, Joe, we're going to get them buses moved. We're going to get them buses moved. And it never happens. So it would seem to me that now, while we're renegotiating the contract, it'd be a perfect time to get them buses moved. So I just really struggle with approving the contract, and I believe we've got the best company. I believe we picked the best of the two. I believe that, and I understand it's costing us more, but I still think we're making the right decision. But I sure would like to see in this contract that we're moving those buses. And again, I know it's the 11th hour, but myself and my community up there in Hickson, we need some assurances that these buses are going to get moved. So that's my question. Can we get these buses moved, Dr. Bradshaw?
We'll continue to look for alternative locations next school year. We have met several times, and that is an objective of ours, to get those buses relocated.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know you're sincere when you say that, but that's the same thing we've been saying.
Yes, sir.
For a year and a half, and they're still sitting there. I just maybe this will bring awareness to the community that we need some help in parking these buses. If nothing else happens, Megan, I don't know if you're back there, but put the word out. We need a place to park these buses. I mean, it's just that simple. So I'm just asking, Dr. Johnson, that this time it can be more than just we're going to get them moved. I would just like a public promise, Joe, we're going to get these buses moved as soon as we can. I'm not asking for a timeline. I know you can't do that, but I really want this to be on the top of your to-do list. I'm done.
Ms. Thurman.
Joe, I'm going to have you back on this. We've been talking about this a long time. This is an 11th hour request on your part. We talked about it at length at our retreat that we had over at Chat State. We talked about it then, about getting those buses moved. We even talked about it at that point. Also, another thing at Hickson that I get a lot of complaints about is the paving in the parking lot, and it's caused from the overuse of the parking lot due to all these buses coming and going. And some of those holes were huge, and I know they may have repaired some of them, but it's a continual wear and tear on that parking lot as well. So that's a complaint that I get a lot for those buses being there. So I understand if it was at Soddy Daisy High School, I would feel the same way, Joe.
Mrs. Jones.
So at current date, we have nowhere else to put these buses, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And at current date, Mr. Smith, you spoke about the buses that are from Durham, but as well as some additional buses, right?
No, the independents, they're responsible for parking their own buses.
But you just
Durham buses.
Right. So they're all Durham buses because you said we have some additional buses. I'm not sure you're talking about independent contractors or Durham and independent.
I don't think I said that.
Joe, no, you were talking about just in that area.
What I was saying, Ms. Jones, is that in the morning, there will be people coming on that parking lot that are dropping off a driver.
Okay.
No.
That driver doesn't have transportation.
Yeah, I understood that part, but you did mention something about additional buses.
You said at one time they were just the people that were up in the north end of the county, and you said now they're coming from, I think that's what she's referring to.
Yeah, so when you said now they're coming from other places, so are those other places as in Durham buses, or are those other places as in contract drivers?
No, they're Durham buses. What I meant by that is I think when the decision was made many years ago to park up there, it was convenience was kind of taken into consideration. So the buses that were housed there were buses that had routes that were close to there. Now there's buses that are housed there that have routes all over the county. So
okay, so it's like it's bus barn number 2 is what you're saying. Okay, because that was a little muddled, and since we were muddling, I think since we're going to muddle, I want to muddle and say if we're not going to have a company that we're contracting with park on our property, then I don't think the contractors that we contract with should park on our property.
They don't.
Some of them do.
They don't.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you're going to do one thing, it should be for everyone. And if we want to talk about business, most businesses typically utilize one company for most things. We don't do this back and forth, half this, half that, whatever. We've talked about that before, but we know we can't do that now either. But I feel like some of this conversation is coming from the fact that some people are not pleased with the fact that we didn't talk about these contract drivers. And if you want to talk about money, in 2016, when we lost 6 lives and 31 other lives were affected, I feel like some contract drivers made some money off some lives and an emotional state. So you want to talk about money, let's just put it all out there. Because we do have a population that those drivers who are supposed to be the safest drivers do not bus. Let's just put it out there. And we give accolades to those who do, and we are grateful for those that do. But I'm just saying, they don't service everyone. So we putting everything out today, because we sound like we muddling and backpedaling, and we're not going to have nobody to take our kids anywhere on August 7th. And that's going to be an even bigger issue. So I agree with Joe about the facilities. I agree with you about that. But on this other end, we have 44,000+ children that we have to get to school, or I'm gonna say 40,000 that we have to get to school, and we have to figure out how to get them there. So we can talk about shoulda, woulda, coulda, woulda, whatever, but I mean, I was at a lot of these meetings, so I'm trying to figure out why some people miss some stuff. Yeah, me too. But I'm just trying to figure that out. It's just frustrating because I agree with what you're saying about facilities, and we need to figure that out about where we're going to put these buses. But at the same time, we also have a greater commitment to figure out how we're going to get these kids to school on August 7th. And we are running out of time. And in a minute, just since we're putting something else out there, it's 9 of us. 2 of us may not be here if a vote comes up. Then what are y'all going to do? Because you can't vote if you don't have a quorum. And it's not y'all fault that we pregnant, but I'm just saying.
But it is.
I'm just saying, we have to think about those things, because I'm not going to run back to board because we couldn't make a decision. I want to have the right to do what I need to do at home.
I think.
Hey, let's.
So I just want to put that out there. If we want to be truthful, we have to be truthful about all things. If we want to talk about business, we have to talk about that. We have to be business like in everything. We can't pick and choose what we want to call out on.
Ms. Ford, I'm ready to call for the question, please.
Okay, just to be clear, we're voting on the lease agreement.
Correct.
Okay. Dr. Highlander,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Lennon,
Yes.
Mr. McClendon.
Yes.
Mrs. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman,
Yes.
Chairman Wingate.
Yes. All right, that brings us to the first student contract. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Dr. Highlander.
I think I agree with my friend Ms. Jones that said we have got to have buses on the road here, and we've got to give them adequate time. The majority of this board, 7 of them, voted for this organization. So that's the organization we're going to have. That being, I am still concerned about the extra money spent, but I'm also happy that we have a new contractor. So I think that we really need to be very cautious about spending more money and more money and more money and more money, and when I hope that we have it. And fiscal responsibility is important, but I think that we do need to make the move and get this going so that Dr. Bradshaw and Mr. Eves and their team can get it set up where we can have the bus going. Am I pleased that we're spending an extra $1 million? No. Am I pleased that we've got a new contractor? Yes. But I think we need to get it going. Thank you.
Mrs. Thurman.
Yeah, just for the record, this isn't a new contractor to us. We had first student when I first got on the school board, and we got rid of them, and we're glad that the Durham's here. But I would say this isn't our first rodeo with them either. In 4 years, we'll be going back to Durham because they'll be going back and forth and back and forth. And every time they come, they bring new buses. So maybe it's not a bad thing. But just to get our business. But like I said, I don't know what all of this other mess was about. I don't really know and don't really care. But I've gave you my reason why I'm not voting for it. So that being said.
Any other discussion? All right, Mrs. Ford.
Dr. Highlander,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Lennon,
Yes.
Mr. McClendon.
Yes.
Mrs. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman,
No.
Chairman Wingate.
Yes. To adjourn the special called session.